Oh, it's week 15. Oh boy. What is up, everybody? JT Dangerously here once again. I am back for my week 15 NFL predictions. Now, of course, week 14 just ended with the New England Patriots beating the Baltimore Ravens, so my record finishing up week 14 was 9-7. So it's a winning week. Not my best week, but it's a winning week nonetheless. 9 straight winning weeks since week 6. We passed 9. Let's go for 10 straight into this week 15, of course. Now, before I start, custom on this channel, I want to thank everybody who did watch my week 14 predictions. What can I say? Over 660 plus views on that video. Like, you guys showed up again. You guys showed up in the comments. 39 comments from some good people putting their opinions out there. And of course, opinions are like noses. Everybody has them. Wishing me, talking about who they want to win this week, which is also good, which I'm very proud of seeing that. 31 likes on the video on week 14 picks, most on the channel, so you guys smash that like button. 36 new subscribers to the channel, and what can I say, we're getting closer to 100 subscribers on this channel, and I couldn't be any more happier. You guys make me so happy to do this every week. I mean, it's going to be so sad when I can't do this till next September. So I hope you guys stick with me till then, till we get back to when we get to the next season, or we add more stuff to the channel with maybe different picks from different sports stuff. So I'd like to do that. Of course, I want to welcome new subscribers to the channel. My name is JT Dangerously, and welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. Thank you for subscribing and supporting the channel. Other than that, let's get right into these picks. Before I start, of course, there is no buys. There's not going to be any buys going into this week, the week after, and the week after that. So there's no buys. So if you have a fantasy team that's in a championship or not in a championship, good luck to you. And if you didn't make it into the championship, hey, it's always next year. Of course, let's start with the Thursday night matchup, which is the LA Rams hitting to CenturyLink Field to play the Seattle Seahawks. Now, of course, the LA Rams did lose to the Atlanta Falcons. Jared Goff, not a bad game, but again, it was against a better team, and now he's got to play against Russell Wilson. Got to play dangerous at home at CenturyLink Field, and these Seahawks are pissed. I mean, you can say right when they brought him in, they brought him in a few weeks ago. Jared Goff. Who did they start him off with? They started him off with Drew Brees at Superdome, lost. Then Tom Brady at Foxborough, lost. And now playing at home, but against Atlanta, Matt Ryan without Julio Jones, which was a surprise, still blew him out. And now he's got to go to Seattle to play the Seattle Seahawks at their house, CenturyLink Field. This is like murderer's row. Like, this is like 25 to life in prison for Jared Goff to start these games against 4 fantastic football teams and their quarterbacks. So, and then you have the Seattle Seahawks who got completely embarrassed. I mean, maybe Seahawks' worst game this season. Russell Wilson had his worst game. 5 picks. 5 picks. That is insane. 5 picks in a game. It did not look good. You can tell the Earl Thomas being hurt and out for the season really showed there. Like, their defense gave up points left and right. And hopefully, and LA's got a chance to sweep the Seattle Seahawks this season. And it's always with those Rams. The Rams have always been a tough team for the Seahawks for sure. So coming from me, I got to go with the Seattle Seahawks. They're at home. This is a payback game. This is definitely a payback game. So I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks to beat the LA Rams on Thursday Night Football. Now the next matchup, which is a Saturday matchup, because I think next week there's going to be a lot of Saturday games. So be ready for that. So the Saturday matchup, the Miami Dolphins heading to Jersey to play the New York Jets. Now, of course, both teams are coming off wins. Of course, Miami on Sunday beating the Arizona Cardinals, and the New York Jets beating the terrible 49ers in overtime. Now, of course, with the Dolphins, they had a big lead, but again, they pulled back the pedal. Like, they didn't want to shove it down their throats. They kind of pulled back a little bit. But they lost huge. Like, they lost, like, winning the game is one thing, but they lost their quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is believed to have a torn ACL, so he's going to be out for the season. The worst time for the Dolphins to lose their quarterback is now, and it's the worst time. I mean, Matt Moore is not a bad quarterback, but he's a backup, and they're trying to get into the wild card race, and losing Tannehill, and this is an ACL injury, and it did not look good because you can see him getting emotional in the sidelines, and usually when they get emotional, they know it's bad. So this is not going to be easy with a backup quarterback. And then you have the New York Jets, who did come from behind and beat the 49ers. I know, I picked the Niners. I don't know why. Right? Niners are garbage. I mean, Bryce Petty did not too bad. I mean, they were down in that game and came all the way back and won in overtime. They looked good. Forte did not. I think Forte got hurt, but keep an eye if you have him on fantasy. If you're in a playoff thing, if you have Matt Forte. This one's a tough matchup because, like, I would have said easily that the Miami Dolphins are going to win. But now with this Tannehill ACL injury, now they don't have a legit starting quarterback. And no offense to Matt Moore, he is not a starter. He's a backup. So coming from me, I gotta take the Miami Dolphins. They're the hotter team, even though they lost Tannehill. Even though they lost Tannehill, Miami's a stronger team than the Jets coming from me. And I'm gonna take the Dolphins to beat the Jets. Now the Sunday slate, that's the 10 a.m. West Coast, 1 p.m. East Coast. Starting with the NFC North matchup, the Green Bay Packers heading to Soldier Field to play the Chicago Bears. Now, of course, the Green Bay Packers put an ass kicking on the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. It was like, what can I say? I mean, of course, they're going to... I was wrong about saying that Aaron Rodgers guaranteed. He just said he would win. Like, he's going to hopefully win the rest of the games for the Packers. If I said guaranteed, I am very sorry, because he's saying hopefully he can win the rest of the games. He looked good. I mean, everybody looked good. I mean, defense showed up. Jordy Nelson, Aaron Rodgers, A-Rod and Jordy, and Randall Cobb. They look good. Then you have the Chicago Bears, who did lose to the Detroit Lions. I mean, you cannot like Chicago, but Matt Barkley is a good quarterback, and coming from me, he should be starting. He should be starting for the Bears. Cutler is on his way out. He's not a great quarterback. He's like, Mister. That's like Jay Cutler. That's Jay Cutler in a nutshell. Like, he's not great. He's not a great quarterback. He's not clutch. Like, Matt Barkley, I know he's not a starting quarterback, but he is a good backup quarterback. But he should be starting for the Bears. Hopefully next season. Jordan Howard had a good game. Cameron Meredith had a good game. Hopefully, I think Alshon Jeffrey will be back. I think either this week or next week, so that really helps. But coming from me, I gotta take the Green Bay Packers in this one. Even though they're catching up to the Lions in the North and the Vikings, of course, but I think I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to beat the Chicago Bears. Now the next matchup, the Jacksonville Jaguars heading to Houston to play the Houston Texans. Now, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars did lose again, but they actually gave Minnesota a fight, which was surprising. And Vikings fans, you meet my challenge. I pick you. You nearly lose to Jacksonville. You nearly made the list, and there is no list. Nobody made the list this week, so do not worry, NFL teams. Nobody made the list this week. There could have been one, but I didn't think it was big enough to put them on the list. So nobody on the list this week. Jacksonville looked good. I mean, they actually had offense for once, and that's saying a lot. But of course, they did lose. Then you have the Houston Texans, who did win. I pick against the Colts. I pick with the Colts. They lose. They fucking lose. They look good, but most of their offense was from their defense and their running back and their running back. Osweiler did nothing. I think he had 2 picks, and he had no touchdowns. Really, he's your 7-year man that you guys won by your defense, but not from him. Shouldn't it be like Your quarterback gets it done and your defense gets it done. Not just your defense and your quarterback that you pay this much money for does nothing but throw picks. Not a clutch quarterback. Not a clutch quarterback. This, of course, is the AFC South. Of course, Houston is leading the AFC South thanks to the Indianapolis win on Sunday. So coming from me, I'm just going to take the Houston Texans to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars because Jacksonville can't get any worse than they are right now. And Houston, well, order of advice, Brock Osweiler, throw a touchdown this week, or at least 2 or 3. So I'm taking Houston over Jacksonville. Now the next matchup, the Cleveland Browns heading to Orchard Park to play the Buffalo Bills. Now, of course, the Cleveland Browns did lose. They're still winless. What can you say? But, I mean, they didn't give really of a fight, but they only scored 10 points against Cincinnati on Sunday. So, and then you have the Buffalo Bills, who did get blown out at home by the Pittsburgh Steelers and by only one man. And if you had them on fantasy, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Le'Veon Bell. 42 fantasy points for Le'Veon Bell today. If you had him on fantasy in your playoffs, if you were playing against him, boy, you've got to feel just like, this guy put in 42 fantasy points on the board against Buffalo's defense, and they were playing at Orchard Park, and it was snowing, of course. This one's going to be good. I mean, of course, RG3 is back. RG3 did return for the Cleveland Browns. Didn't do that bad. He didn't do that bad, but again, it's the Browns. They're terrible. They have talent, but they're terrible. Then you have the Bills. And I was hearing a source that Rex Ryan could be fired, but that's just a source because I wouldn't be surprised they fire him. He hasn't produced. He hasn't produced what he's been saying for the Bills, and that's kind of, it's Rex Ryan always putting his foot in his mouth, and that's Rex Ryan for you. So coming from me in this matchup, I am going to take the Buffalo Bills to win, but I wouldn't even be surprised Cleveland wins this because this may be Cleveland's their best chance to win their first game, but I got to go with Buffalo at home. Hopefully, Tyrod Taylor, Sammy Watkins, Shady McCoy, their defense shows up and gets it done. So I'm taking the Buffalo Bills over the Cleveland Browns. Now the next matchup, and then the next installment of the Battle of the Birds. The Philadelphia Eagles heading to Baltimore to play the Baltimore Ravens. Now, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles did lose again at home. What can you say? I mean, even though they had all their weapons there, they still lost. They could have won that game against Washington and maybe get a little bit of an inch up in the hunt teams that are trying to get into the wild card spots, but they did look good. They looked okay, but it was like they were messing. They not on Wentz. It was like mostly like I think it was the last play that he got sacked. It was like you having a backup to a backup to a backup covering you, protecting you, your offensive line. You can't win with a backup to a backup to a backup protecting you. That's what happened. Then you have the Baltimore Ravens, who of course did lose tonight to the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football. So it was not a bad game. I mean, Flacco did fine, but again, it's the Patriots. It's a different team, and it's the same old story with the Patriots and Ravens. So coming from me, I am going to take the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think because their defense on fire, offense is pretty solid, and Philadelphia is kind of just dying right now. I was hearing things about they're jumping off the Wentz hype train and kind of jumping off of it, but hell, hey Philadelphia, at least you got the Flyers, and the Flyers are actually really good this season, so at least you got that. So I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now the next matchup, the Tennessee Titans heading to Arrowhead Stadium to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, of course, the Tennessee Titans gave me the biggest upset win in Week 14 on Sunday with a big-time win against the Denver Broncos. So I want to know anybody who picked it. I don't know if I should just ask right now if anybody who other than me picked Tennessee to win that game. Comment below and I don't think anybody predicted Tennessee was going to win that game on Sunday, and they got it done. They're the hottest team right now in the South. Other than the Houston Texans, Tennessee is the hottest team in the South. Then you have the Kansas City Chiefs, who did beat the Oakland Raiders on Thursday Night Football. And yes, I know I did. I should have listened to some people saying on the comments below. I was seeing a lot of comments saying, "Oh, you should have went with Kansas City." Even I can told you. Again, I'm not perfect. I never said I was perfect. I'm not good with I'm not perfect on picks. I gotta man up and I gotta take that L. I gotta take all of these L's this week. 7 L's is not easy, but again, I'm not perfect with picks. I'm not perfect every week, so. But of course, Kansas City did look good. Tyreek Hill looked amazing. Defense, of course, against Oakland looked good. But I mean, that game could have been changed if Oakland scored on those 3 turnovers the Chiefs had, and that game could have been a different result, but they didn't do it. But the Chiefs are smart. They better minuscule those turnovers and use it against their opposing teams other than themselves. Everybody's healthy. Jeremy Maclin was back on Thursday, which was good. Defense was good. So now this one's tough because I do like Tennessee, and Kansas City is a very good team, and of course they are the number 2 seed in the AFC thanks to that Thursday night game against Oakland. So coming from me, this one's a tough one. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win because they're at home. Momentum, and Kansas City's got the most, and they got a lot more weapons other than Tennessee. So I'm taking Kansas City over the Tennessee Titans. Now the next matchup, the Detroit Lions heading to MetLife Stadium to play the New York Giants. Now, of course, the Detroit Lions won again, down. What can I say about the freaking Lions? 8 consecutive victories, 8 comeback victories in 2016 this season. That is amazing. First place. Of course, there was a big-time injury in Matthew Stafford. I think he had a badly dislocated finger, so he's going to have to wear a glove on his throwing hand. So he's going to have to wear a glove on his throwing hand. So that could hanker his numbers like he usually does without a glove. But everybody looked good. I mean, of course, they already did not play. So they didn't really need them. They had Zenner, and they had a lot of other people producing for them. And then you have the New York Giants, who beat the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, Dallas has their kryptonite, and it's the New York Giants. New York Giants came in, beat the Cowboys for the second straight time. What can you say? I mean, even without Jason Pierre-Paul, who's out for the season with a sports hernia injury, they're doing it without him. It's pretty amazing. Eli Manning had a great game. Odell Beckham Jr. had another really good, solid game. And what can you say? It's the Giants. The Giants are what? The Cowboys' kryptonite, and of course the Patriots' kryptonite. I can say that as a Patriots fan. But now in this matchup, this one's going to be really good. So I'm going to take the New York Giants to beat the Detroit Lions. So I'm taking the Giants over the Lions. Now the next matchup, the Indianapolis Colts heading to Minnesota to play the Minnesota Vikings. Now, of course, the Indianapolis Colts let me down when they could have won against Houston. But, of course, I picked for them. They lose. So, Colts, come on. Why are you doing this, man? Why are you doing this? Andrew Luck did not look good. Andrew Luck looked terrible. That was his worst game. That was not his best game. And it was at home. He was even how do you lose like that? They lost by 5, which is embarrassing, even for a fact. But what can you say? It's the Colts. Every year, it's like we're going to get the good Colts or we're going to get the bad Colts, and we're getting the bad Colts right now. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings, who did, of course, beat Jacksonville, not handily, but it's a win. Sam Bradford looks good. I did hear they were saying that Adrian Peterson may be back, but he says that if they're in contention, I'll come back. And that's kind of surprising. Hey, if you're healthy, if you're 90, 95% healthy or 80% healthy, it doesn't matter if they're in it or not. You tore your ACL and you came back. This little injury, it's a big time injury, but if he's healing up and he's saying that, I'll only come back if they're in the hunt, just come back. Even if they're not in the hunt, just show what you've done this before. You've come back from injuries and you've shown what you are, Adrian Peterson. You can't just say, I'm gonna come back when they're in the hunt. You gotta come back. If you're healthy and you're ready to go, come back. Don't put an ultimatum on your own team. So coming from me, but I digress. But coming from me, I am going to take the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Indianapolis Colts. Now, just watch Indianapolis win this week. But I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Indianapolis Colts. Now the next matchup in the AFC North matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Cincinnati to play the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers did win. If it wasn't, it was the 3 Bs were out, but one B got most of the job done, and that's Le'Veon Bell. Most of Pittsburgh's offense was from him. 3 rushing touchdowns, over 200 yards. If you had him on fantasy, 42 fantasy points, and if you had him in a playoff or a playoff matchup, boy, you hit the jackpot with him. I mean, of course, Ben Roethlisberger did not have a great game. He had 3 picks. That was not his best game. And I think Antonio Brown only had 70-some yards, so hey, if 1B can get it done, like 1B, 1 out of 3 ain't bad, and that 1B is Le'Veon Bell. They looked good against Buffalo. So they're streaking really soon. It's going to maybe come down to that last game of the season So watch out for the Steelers. They have the Cincinnati Bengals, who did beat the Cleveland Browns. They look good. Tyler Eifert had, I think, 2 touchdowns. Jeremy Hill had a good game. Andy Dalton had a good game, but of course it's Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns are terrible. So, and coming from me in this matchup, I am going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game, because one bad game from Ben Roethlisberger on Sunday just means he's going to have maybe an even better game against this week against Cincinnati. So I'm taking Pittsburgh over Cincinnati. Now the next matchup, the New Orleans Saints heading to Glendale to play the Arizona Cardinals. Now, of course, the New Orleans Saints did lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, of course, there was some history. Drew Brees did not throw a touchdown in this game. First time he has not thrown a touchdown in 2 games since 2009. So, and, of course, Michael Thomas did not play. Of course, Melvin Ingram played. But, of course, that Bucs defense. And I'll get to the Bucs. When we get to the Sunday night game. But the Bucs defense shut Drew Brees down, and that's saying a lot. And that's just showing how much of a tougher team the Bucs are this season. And the Bucs are becoming that darling team in the NFC for sure. Then you have the Arizona Cardinals, who did lose to the Miami Dolphins after coming back from, I think they were down 23-9, and they came all the way back but lost. They looked good, like in the 4th, and then they just lost. So, of course, they're still. I think every team in the NFC West lost again this week. So all 4 teams lost in the NFC West. So, well, I mean, it's really it's only a 1-team league, and it's the Hawks. The Hawks are the best team out of that whole NFC West. So coming from me in this matchup, I am going to take the New Orleans Saints to win, and hopefully Drew Brees starts throwing those touchdowns and start throwing those picks. So Drew Brees, throw touchdowns. So I'm taking the Saints over the Cardinals. Now the next matchup, the San Francisco 49ers heading to the Georgia Dome to play the Dirty Birds of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, of course, the San Francisco 49ers did lose. I did pick that game. I did pick the 49ers. Should have known. I should have known they were going to screw it up. They were up 14-3, and they lose in overtime. I mean, 1-12. Like, they could go 1-15 this season. The 2 people I feel bad for the 49ers, I'm no 49ers fan, is Colin Kaepernick and Carlos Hyde, because those are 2 good players. And they're just playing for a very terrible, shitty team. And Chip Kelly, of course, Oregon signed a new coach, so, well, I wouldn't even be surprised Chip Kelly gets fired in the offseason. I would not even be surprised. He has done nothing. He has made that team even worse with that. He's made that team even worse than when Jim Harbaugh left. And that's saying a lot. I mean, what can you say about the Niners? 1-12. Now they have to play at the Georgia Dome to play the Atlanta Falcons, who just put an ass kicking on the LA Rams on Sunday. Vic Beasley had a great monster game. Of course, they did not have Julio Jones. Hopefully, he will play this game. Hopefully, this is just hopefully. Everybody else did fine. Defense did work. Matt Ryan did work. Devontae Freeman, Devin Coleman, everybody did good on that game. So in this matchup, and I think this is going to be a blowout, I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons over the San Francisco 49ers because the Niners are just trash. So I'm taking the Falcons over the 49ers. Now the next matchup. My New England Patriots heading 2 Mile High to play the Denver Broncos. Now, of course, the New England Patriots did win on Monday Night Football tonight. They looked good, even without Gronkowski. They looked fantastic. They looked really good. So, good way to continue their trying to get that home field advantage and the first round bye, of course, in the AFC playoffs. Then you have the Denver Broncos, who did lose to the Tennessee Titans. I called it. I don't know if anybody else picked Tennessee in their picks this week, but if I'm the only one, but I know my friend Mitchell Seagull also picked Tennessee, so we're both right. Smart minds think alike. They did not look good. I mean, of course, Trevor Siemian coming back from the injury, the no-fly zone. There was a very bad hit that sparked something. I think Tennessee Titan hit a defensive player in the knees, and they didn't call it, and then they had a big skirmish. It's the NFL shit. I don't know what to tell you. This should be a good game. Of course, it's not Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. It's Trevor Siemian against Tom Brady. It's Trevor Siemian, Tom Brady. Greatest of all time. And, of course, he would be winning his 202nd win on Monday. You can go to 203. So, coming from me, and this isn't obvious, I'm going to take the New England Patriots to beat the Denver Broncos. Now the next matchup in the AFC West, the Oakland Raiders heading to Qualcomm to play the San Diego Chargers. Now, of course, the Oakland Raiders did lose. Yes, I did pick Oakland to win that game. I'm wrong. I'm not always right. I was not right on that pick, and I'll take the L. Be honest, I will take the L and take it like a man. I'll take all of these L's like a man. Oakland Raiders did not look good. I mean, the one thing that was frustrating in this game was that Kansas City had 3 turnovers. Oakland could have won this game, but they just went for field goals. And you can't win games when you take the ball away from the other team 3 times and you just score field goals. You don't win like that. Of course, Latavius Murray looked good. Derek Carr did not have a great game, even though he had 100 yards passing. Not his best game. Not his best game in fantasy either. Amari Cooper, not a best game. This was not a good game in general for the Raiders, which they could have won. And then you have the San Diego Chargers, who did lose to the Carolina Panthers. Yes, I picked San Diego to beat Carolina. I mean, San Diego looked terrible. I mean, it looks like Melvin Gordon did get hurt, but they're saying he's okay, which was a big sigh of relief. And then I heard that Joey Bosa, I think, has a concussion, so he's going to have to pass concussion protocol just to play next week. This, San Diego always finds ways to make you sweat, because you think they're good, and then they just continue to lose, and then they start losing good players. I would say right now, I think, coming from me, when Gordon was gone, it was their offense was gone. It's all on him. Phillip Rivers had a good game, but he had 3 picks. He was not in it today. He was not in it on Sunday to win it, and that's pretty sad. So coming from me in this AFC West matchup, I am going to take the Oakland Raiders to win this matchup. So I'm taking Oakland over San Diego. Now the Sunday night matchup. Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to the Jerry Dome to play the Dallas Cowboys. Now, of course, Tampa Bay Buccaneers got it done at home. What can I say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? They are the darlings of the NFC. That is for sure. I mean, they stopped New Orleans. They stopped Drew Brees from throwing a touchdown. That's saying a lot. Jameis Winston had a great game. Defense had a fantastic game, keeping the Saints to only 11 points, which is saying a lot. They looked good, maybe the most, and I'm telling you right now, if this team does not get the respect it deserves, it should, because Tampa Bay is a very young but a very up and coming team. They are very high up there in the top, very good, underrated teams, but should be not underrated. It should be up there in the NFC South division. Then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who did lose on Sunday Night Football. They did not have a great game. And of course, I can say it again. Dallas's kryptonite is the New York Giants this season, and that's saying a lot. And I picked against the Giants in Week 14. Not my best week. Again, that was not my best week. So coming from me, this one's a very tough one, but I'm gonna go with the upset because I had an upset pick with the Tennessee Titans over Denver. I think Tampa Bay can beat Dallas. Like, there's no rule to if Zeke gets 100 yards. Not like that. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to upset the Dallas Cowboys because Tampa Bay is a very hot team. Like, Tampa Bay is a very up-and-coming hot team. So, you have to look out. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'll take that L. But I'm going to go with the upset. I'm taking Tampa Bay to beat Dallas on Sunday Night Football. Now, the Monday night matchup that goes against, of course, the night after Roadblock End of the Line, which I will be watching with the Glorious 4, of course. And you know who you are, guys. It's going to be a good 3 hours of wrestling, of course. And, of course, they're going to Monday Night Football is going against the night after Roadblock, Monday Night Raw. Carolina Panthers heading to Washington to play the Washington Redskins. Now, of course, the Carolina Panthers did win. Okay. Carolina Panthers. Okay. Then you have the Washington Redskins, who did win, come from behind and beat the the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, on Sunday. Can't say anything more other than I'm just going to make this pick fast. I'm going to take the Washington Redskins to beat the Carolina Panthers on Monday Night Football. And those are my Week 15 NFL predictions. Now, I hope you enjoyed my predictions. Comment below, who do you have winning this week? I always like seeing what you guys predict. And also, who would you put, like, this week? Who would you put on your list? Because I have my list of Dangerously. I want to know who would you put on your list? And who would be the stupid idiot this week for you? I always want to see that. Of course, I wanted to say this beforehand. There's going to be a straw poll in the description that I may be doing my college football picks. I just wanted to see if you guys would like to see me do the college football picks, or it should be in the description below. So again, please vote if you're interested in me doing a college football bowl picks, which they start on next Saturday. They start on December 17th. So if you guys want to see me do my college football bowl pick'ems, which there are 42 games, and I will be picking all 42 games. So if you guys want to see it, please vote in the straw poll in the description. So, of course, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and become part of this Dangerous Alliance, and I will see you in the next video. See ya!